Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 10 of season 7 of our F124 Haas driver career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona. If you missed out on the video that went live a few days ago from Montreal, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. We are currently P2 in the Drivers' World Championship, 29 points back from Oscar Piastri after we claimed our second victory in 3 Grand Prix. It's safe to say Haas are on a little bit of a roll right now. We've won the last 3 Grand Prix back-to-back this season. Oscar Piastri still has only had 1 win to his name all the way back at Albert Park. Of course, it was his home race, which sadly he couldn't do last weekend in Australia. I must admit, personally, I was gutted watching, you know, that McLaren car slide off the road late on in the day. But ultimately, in this series, we're kind of hoping that could happen once or twice more before the end of the year. Of course, get yourself subscribed if you're new. We are trying to hit 140,000 subs on the channel as well at the moment. And also, if you want to help support us just a little bit more, consider clicking the join button down below. It costs just £1 a month and you get early access to all these videos. Of course, obviously, this is the last season of this career mode that we're doing on the game. So obviously, when F125 launches, like I said, that early access will stick around for you guys as well. But yeah, without further ado then, let's head here back to Spain. Hopefully, we can get a good weekend under our belt.
Hello everyone, it is a track the drivers know oh so well. It is qualifying in Barcelona for the Spanish Grand Prix.
Well, here we are then, back in Barcelona, and I know I've said it before, but F124 has got to be the first game ever where now I've kind of figured out the tyre temperature. I really do look forward to coming back to this Barcelona circuit. Of course, as soon as they make it good and exciting, it's going to get dropped and obviously replaced by Madrid for 2026. So yeah, I think we're only going to get F125 where we can really enjoy this venue, unless for whatever reason Cody's kind of extend their license with the circuit as well to have it inside the games then. But yeah, hopefully we're going to have good pace here as well. I've really focused on trying to make sure we've got a car that feels drivable and is also going to be able to manage its tyres. Of course, these things now have got so much grip in this game, though. You know, Campsa, the final couple of corners should be hopefully easily flat out as well. So you really do feel like you're kind of trying to bring these things right up towards the limit of kind of what a Formula 1 car is able to do around this venue. 2 more corners to go, though, a little bit away from the McLaren cars at the moment, but completely flat through that final turn. We will line up P7 on the grid. We were not far away from pole, though. Well, there we go. Sub 1 minute 10 is kind of the holy grail around this circuit on this game, and both McLaren cars have managed it there. Norris will line up on pole ahead of George Russell. Alonso, the home hero, in P3 ahead of Charles Leclerc and Oscar Piastri. We tied with Pierre Gasly, though, at the end of the session there. I don't think I've ever had that inside F124, so a rather impressive moment. Nothing can separate the Haas cars right now, but P7, we were a 10th off P1, which is quite alarming as well, so nothing to separate our drivers this weekend here in Barcelona. Further down the order, doesn't look like there's been too many surprises, so I guess we've just got to get on with the race.
Circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya has been on the calendar for over 30 years now, and it has served up some classics. Michael Schumacher's first win for Ferrari in 1996 in the rain. We have much better weather here today for the Spanish Grand Prix. It's a sellout crowd of 140,000 here today as we await lights out for the long run down into Turn 1. This is a 2.9-mile racetrack. Overtaking is challenging here, to put it mildly. There are 16 corners, but there's still a lot of drama and excitement to be found out there on track. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Firestarter, Hamilton, Fittipaldi, Teo Porcher, Perez, Behrman, Sargent, Tsunoda, Iwasa, Ricciardo, Ocon, Vesti, Joe, and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. That's it then. It's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race.
Well, we are almost at the halfway stage of this season, and it's certainly been very kind of up and down for a lot of drivers. We've mentioned it before, but Oscar Piastri seems to be the only one that has ultimately had the consistency here. You know, that's why he's got the championship lead he does have at this early stage. 33 laps ahead of us, though, around this Barcelona circuit. The team want us to go very aggressive, soft to medium. I guess if we're going to try, a lot of other cars are as well. Waiting on the grid, though, 5 red lights for the Spanish Grand Prix. A mighty long hold there, but it is going to be lights out and away we go. Charles Leclerc, though, clearly didn't get the memo, and neither have I. Oscar Piastri would immediately slide past the Mercedes into turn 1 as Hamilton kind of trying to look past ourselves in towards that first corner. McLaren still 1 and 2 line astern there as Oscar Piastri actually will move past Fernando Alonso as well then. So immediately knocking the Aston Martin out of the podium places there as we will try and get to the inside of our teammate Pierre Gasly through turn 4 and turn 5 there. Of course, the scene of that Mercedes collision almost 10 years ago now. How old am I? Boy, oh boy, that's a bit of an existential crisis to have very, very early on in the GP. But yeah, I believe, though, Russell got the jump on Norris through those first couple of corners. So I think, yeah, that is Russell that leads the way on this opening lap then as we get a really nice run up through Campsa there. Whoa! Oh, Charles Leclerc just broke a tiny bit earlier than I thought he would. So I did, for a brief moment there, feel like I might have to dive to the inside of the Mercedes. But yeah, Russell, though, already trying to extend a little bit of a lead early on. Of course, no DRS just yet then as we make our way out of the final corner. Again, though, through the really high-speed stuff, we have got the advantage over Charles. So, I mean, Oscar Piastri trying to make another move happen back towards turn 1 there. He's going to go from 5th place on the grid to 2nd as we start lap 2 then. He's still going wheel to wheel with his former teammate. Norris might just be able to hang on, which he will. Nope, Oscar still trying to make things happen. He will finally give up. But, yeah, I mean, Oscar Piastri, he's just cool, calm and collected when he needs to be. But as we saw last weekend at Albert Park with that move on Lewis Hamilton, he also could be very aggressive when he wants to as well. Well, here we go then. Lando Norris now. He's going to try and flip the script against Oscar Piastri there as we almost run into the back of Fernando Alonso through turn 1. And Norris there will make the move happen and back up into P2. We will get down the inside of Fernando Alonso there using the switchback through 3 and 4. And the Spaniard does not like that one. Not going to give up on it there as we try and give him a bit of a squeeze. Show him the grass on the outside through turn 4. But yeah, like I said, this is all working fantastically for Russell, who every lap we all battle behind is just extending his lead. Right, well, we need to try and get involved in this now. We cannot afford to just sit here and watch these two battle lap after lap as Oscar Piastri will go defensive there. We will move to the inside, though, of the young Ferrari man, and up into 3rd spot we'll go. Even if I just keep those two away from each other for a lap or two, it might make all the difference. But George Russell then, he's already making me think that maybe he doesn't actually have the speed here. He just got a little bit lucky on lap 1 there as Lando Norris trying to go around the outside of him. Oh, through turn 1 and turn 2. We will make it 3 wide temporarily there in towards turn 3. Here comes Oscar Piastri, though, trying to have a bit of a look as we will have a look one way, then go the other against the McLaren car there. So from P1 to P3, oh, by the end of sector 1, I mean, we're only on lap 8 and already this race feels incredibly hectic. Very lucky not to spin the car out as we dip the rear wheel on the grass. But now Lando Norris and I got to try and pull away from Russell. And for the first time today then, can we try and take the lead of the GP here? Lando Norris going to be pretty defenceless. Oh, in fact, he was so defenseless he didn't even bother trying to defend it there. I assumed the McLaren would go to the inside line. He didn't, so we'll go around him there, but with 2 wheels on the grass. I apologise, Lando. That was a complete miscommunication. Oh, we've got yellows, we've got yellows. Someone's dropping to the wayside then in this Grand Prix. No idea who it is. I don't think it's a McLaren or Oscar Piastri. Is it Fernando Alonso? No, it's the other Ferrari, Enzo Fittipaldi. The circuit where last season we saw the Brazilian claim his first ever Formula 1 victory. This season, it's going to be much, much crueler to him. He is our first retirement of the Spanish Grand Prix. Well, this is going to be a problem, especially if you're McLaren, because I think everybody's tyres are falling off. And of course, you have to sacrifice one of your drivers here at the moment. Both of them not a million miles away in the Drivers' Championship. Both of them have been very, very unlucky with reliability gremlins as well so far this season. Oh, that was not the ideal pit lane entry. That'll definitely cost us a little bit there as we slapped the wall on the outside there. Somehow we haven't picked up any front wing damage from all of that. I've got no idea how we avoided that one then, but not the ideal pit lane entry that we needed in this GP is getting the new tyres on the wagon. Hopefully we're not going to get jumped by anyone a little bit further behind.
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross onto the track.
And there we go. Looks like Oscar Piastri's had a bit of a slow stop here, so this might work out fantastically. Fred Vesti in the Sauber has got out between us. So yeah, I think Oscar Piastri then this lap, this is our chance to pull away from the Ferrari man, as both McLarens opted to stay out. So clearly they are happy with their tyres. Well, Fred Vesti then doing a fantastic job keeping Oscar Piastri at bay through these final few turns then, but we're almost a half distance of this Grand Prix as most of the cars then into the pit lane. I think a Red Bull and one of the McLarens has opted to stay out. There is George Russell though. We've got a big undercut on the McLaren there. In fact, he's come out behind Oscar Piastri still. So I imagine Lando Norris is going to be in real trouble. Well, Lando Norris then into the pit lane. Logan Sargent will be our last car to finally peel into the box as well, just behind him. And unless Russell had a slow stop, he's also been held up behind Fred Vesti as well. So things going from bad to worse for the McLaren driver. Lando Norris making his way down to pit exit as well there, as Oscar Piastri has got the bit between his teeth. But I think Lando Norris will come out then in P2. So this works fantastically for us then. We've got a bit of breathing room. Lando Norris will just stay ahead of Oscar Piastri. As Leclerc now, where's Leclerc come from? He's suddenly up to P4. Oh, we've got yellows, we've got yellows. I think someone's gone for a spin. Oscar Piastri. Oscar Piastri's been there, our World Championship leader. He's finally made a mistake. It's something I feel like we haven't seen in, basically ever inside this game. But Oscar Piastri's Spanish Grand Prix, he had a rough qualifying. He'd recovered well early on, but just a couple of small mistakes here are really, really costing him. And I think with that, he's slowed down Fernando Alonso just enough that if there was any doubt over it, it is now definitely a two-horse race for the checkered flag. 10.5 laps to go here. The only concern I've got is still those left-hand side tyres. Definitely did not bring the pressures high enough. Well, as we make our way then towards the final lap of the Spanish Grand Prix, Lando Norris late on here, I think, has just accepted defeat in this race. But I mean, ultimately, when you look at the raw pace of each of your top cars, I think McLaren have really thrown this one away today. As we've said so many times this season, you know, why on earth did they not at least split the cars when it came to strategy? You know, when we got round to the pit stop window, you know, one of those cars should have been in at the same time as everybody else. The fact they tried to extend with both cars really has not worked out for them here. If anything, Russell's got a bit lucky that Leclerc and Alonso battled so aggressively towards the end, because it's allowed him to break free from both of those cars. But yeah, Lando Norris, I'm sure, hoping that a tyre advantage was going to swing back his way by the end of the afternoon. It is not going to happen though here, and as we make our way through this final lap, we've actually extended the gap slightly over these last few here. Admittedly, only by a few tenths of a second, but it all adds up come the checkered flag, as long as I don't bin it. Oh, that got a little bit scary just as we made our way through and up in towards Kampsa. But yeah, obviously only one driver so far this year has won back-to-back races. That was Lando Norris. back at Japan and Shanghai. We're going to join him, though. Our third win in the last 4 GP, and especially with Oscar Piastri way down the order, this is a very, very important one for us. It might well be our first win here in Barcelona as well. It is P1 at the Spanish Grand Prix.
Yes, guys, yes! Come on, boys! That's a race win and your second race win in a row. Fantastic job.
They've done it then. A spectacular victory here in Spain and a massive confidence boost going into the next race.
Well, that's 2 race wins in a row for them. I think they'll be really happy with that. I mean, 1 race win is great, but to have 2, you know that you've got it. You're a little bit more comfortable in your skin. This is a great sign of maybe what's to come next.
The quality and fantastic result of the Haas team will have been noticed by everyone out there today. You can see why everyone's taking them so seriously. These drivers will be hot property by the end of the season.
Well, there we are then. We will take victory yet again here from P7 on the grid. Very, very happy with the pace the car had today. An all-British podium, though, joining us were both of those McLaren cars. But again, you know, McLaren are going to go back to the drawing board and work out what went wrong this afternoon. Fernando Alonso in P4 narrowly misses out in the end on a trophy at home, ahead of Charles Leclerc, Pierre Gasly and Lewis Hamilton. Oscar Piastri, a devastating mistake. Are we finally starting to see some cracks in the Australian's armour there? Théo Pourchaire gets in P9 ahead of Sergio Perez, rounding out your top 10. No other major surprises, though, further down the order. Of course, just Lance Stroll and Enzo Fittipaldi that failed to see the checkered flag. It does, though, mean in the World Championship, the gap at the top has been slashed to just 8 points between myself and Oscar Piastri. Russell now back within a race wins margin as well of the Australian there, with Lando Norris still in P4. Leclerc still ahead of Alonso and Pierre Gasly there. Fittipaldi still ahead of Hamilton and Perez as well. Constructors-wise, McLaren now with a 27-point lead at the top, but Haas just 2 points back behind Ferrari. It'd be great if we could get the jump on them over the next couple of race weekends. Thank you all so much for watching, though. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns, ready to the Styrian Mountains for the Austrian GP. A sprint weekend provides us with twice as many opportunities to try and take the World Championship lead.